This is The Spotlight, the show that looks at local government and white collar crimes the way most people don't have time to. I'm Kay. I've sat on both sides of the table, and I know how messy the system can be. Here we talk about the meetings you didn't attend, the budgets you never saw, and the stories that didn't make the official minutes. Around here, we talk about the stuff that affects real life, city halls, school boards, public dollars, and the decisions that shape our neighborhoods. This is a place where policies meet people, where public decisions affect private lives, and where we slow down the noise to talk about what actually matters in our towns and communities. If it affects your town, your taxes, or your kids, we're talking about it. I'm just a middle aged woman with a passion for local government, accountability, and truth. I have worked in local government and I am a former city manager. I feel that I can add to the discussions that affect your families. And with that, I'd like to welcome Will THilly. You are from Cranford, New Jersey.
Yes.
And you've gotten quite the attention doing public protests during commenting time. Before we kind of get into that, I want to play a little clip here of my choosing.
Sure.
Okay.
Simple rules, sir. Simple rules.
Let me just explain to you. Please. Hey, where's the people's time?
Sit down, Cooper. You have nothing here, Cooper. You see, boss, Cooper, keep your snout out of it, Cooper. You slob.
Please leave the
Speak is one thing, playing is loud.
Music is another.
We can all see each other, but I don't want to be on your
Get it out of my face.
I don't want to be on your film either.
Well, are you capable of giving us comments for the rules that are allowed in the public forum?
Talk to the attorney.
Put it in your law.
Like my reference, my neighbor.
So, can you tell us a little bit about what's going on in these clips that you're sharing and getting so much attention with?
So, well, it started with I would get up and speak about the big issues in our town that I had a problem with, mostly what's happened all over New Jersey and maybe everywhere, but in particular here is the towns are giving billion-dollar developers 30-year tax exemptions to build big apartment complexes all over in many towns. And I didn't have an issue particularly with an apartment building being built, but the fact that us residents had to pay 150 million of their taxes for them was my issue. And a lot of other things, just not being honest with the public, hiding, not being truthful about our taxes being raised, misleading the public, this type of behavior. So, but yeah, I used to speak just like most people, get up and, comment on stuff, but there was no responses, and people in the committee, people weren't they started to not even respond to residents' questions at all. This was a new policy they had. So one evening I just, came out of me that I was going to start dancing. And that was the first time I did that. And that was me doing my old breakdancing routine. And this went surprisingly overnight viral all over the world, right? And since then, at the meetings, we've been doing, we call it like a dance party protest, and different type of stuff, but some type of dance involved usually, and music.
Do you think that you're Let's start. Let's go back a little bit. What is your background? How did you get to this point? Were you always involved, or was it just the development?
Well, in Cranford itself, I don't know, 4 or 5 years ago was when I started to hear about and learn about the development and tax exemptions and other things going on. I started paying attention. And so, but I never had any interest in this type of stuff ever in my life. It was a first, but now I'm settled here with children here. And it was, my wife was approached to be on one of the committees, and they actually put her on the planning board. And I just started casually watching the town meetings, and I saw right away how they were, in my mind, being very condescending and rude to residents who were coming up, asking legitimate questions with no attitude or anything, and they were being treated, I thought, very disrespectfully by the attorneys and the committee members. And I began to go and start speaking at these meetings myself.
So you're sort of their, what's the word? You're speaking up for not just what you feel personally, but for a whole group of people that were being put off to the side, being ignored. From what I understand, the structure is a little bit different in Oregon. So there's a back and forth that you can have during workshops and other types of meetings. Is that
In our town,
correct?
there's
Yeah.
in our town, there's a workshop meeting, which is kind of like the, and then there's in a small room, which is very similar to the one you see in these videos. Then they move from that workshop. Everyone moves out to the larger room, and has pretty much the same format. And the difference is the larger room is filmed by our local TV channel, so the public gets to see that online and stuff. And the workshop meeting is in private, but the same format pretty much. Residents have like 5 minutes to ask questions if they want.
Did your wife have the same sentiment? She was sort of disgusted. Did she take the board position?
No, she didn't know about it. I was actually the one who found the details and did research on it myself. And it's been a long road. I mean, I ran for office here as an independent, mostly to get the word out, to use it as a vehicle to let people know what's even happening. And 3 years ago, we have a lawsuit contesting one of the two 30-year exemptions they gave to the developer. And it's, somewhere around $150 million that they're not paying. And the committee and attorneys misled and lied to the public about why they're doing it. So through this lawsuit, I uncovered in lengthy depositions where I got to interview all the attorneys for the developer in our town. And I really got an understanding of how it's all working and what's really going on.
Oh.
And yeah,
Where does the lawsuit stand?
It's at the New Jersey Appellate Court right now.
Appeals.
And yeah, so we're basically, what happened was there was no legitimate reason ever to give this developer any type of tax exemption for what they're building. And so that's very suspicious. And what we uncovered in the interviews and stuff was that our attorneys had hid and doctored the financial reports, which were written up to advise our committee. And those reports originally stated that the deal was way too excessive and we should not be giving away this type of tax exemption to these developers. However, our own attorneys told that analyst to rewrite his own report and remove all the language saying that it was too excessive. And he did this. And it was in our lawsuit that was uncovered that all the committee was never shown the original analysis. It was hidden from our own committee members.
Wow.
That the deal was, yeah. So that's that's a type of fraud. So that's our main.
Wow. So I didn't get that portion of it. So that's interesting. So why did it end up in appeals? It sounds like a slam dunk case. How did they rule the first time? Did they say anything?
So why it's on appeal is because the judge on the Superior Court, made a lot of errors. The largest of which is that the judge, usually I could describe it like, well, the big thing would be that she assumed or speculated that the changing of the reports, the hiding of it and doctoring of it from the committee members was allowed. And that it was, not that, she actually kind of assumed that they knew about it, or that this was done in kind of a closed session meeting, and that the members of the committee were aware of it. When they weren't, and we have them admitting to this under oath in their depositions.
Wow. Well, it'll be
And,
interesting to see how that. Do we have a date when we'll know how that turns out?
Well, everything's been turned into the appellate court by both sides. So at this point, we're just waiting for the court's decision, ruling on it. So up to 3 months, I would say.
Okay.
Something, yeah, probably around that.
Okay. So do you think, aside from the court case, is this bringing the change that you're wanting? The leadership has turned over since that original pilot program, the tax exemption
A few
was
people have come.
arranged.
Mhm.
And it sounds like that your new mayor is not seeking to do those types of projects again with that type of a tax break. So do you think that's bringing change? Are you bringing change?
So, well, just to correct, the current, we just had a new mayor start like a week ago. But the
okay.
one that the Mayor Curran, who was in most of the videos, he actually did vote for the, long story, but basically the pilot deal was amended, and it was even actually made even worse than the original one I contested. And no, he voted for that. So he did vote for that. Yes, there is a lot of pressure in our town not to ever give these pilots again. It would be a tough political thing to try to do a new one. However, there's, things change in 5-10 years. New population, people moving in and out. But yeah, it's not just that. The real way to change it. This is, again, this type of 30 exemption. There's 2 big ones in our town, but it's all over New Jersey. There's 2,700 throughout New Jersey. Okay,
Wow.
This is over $100 billion business, and what we've learned is basically the $150 million the developer doesn't pay to the town in taxes. That developer doesn't get to keep that. This has been promised to whichever political party is helping them get the deal in the first place.
Really?
Well, this is the only reason they're given. This is the real, and these are given, like I said, 2,700, and that's $100 million of money that developers. It's the biggest moneymaker these political parties have. So that's why they keep building everywhere and giving these exemptions.
I think you have just opened up and clicked some things together for me, because that's tracking. Yeah. Wow.
And it's one example of that. You'll notice when I tell people, for example, all these developments, it's 200, 250 apartments generally. You'll never see, and the whole town was like, well, if you're going to build apartments, why don't we build condos, something people could own, to have people who want to be in the town, long term, and not just rentals. But I tell people that you'll never see a apartment building built with rentals that gets a 30-year exemption. It'll never happen. And the reason is because you can't give a $150 million tax exemption to 250 individual owners. They'll never kick it back.
Why?
Well, if let's say all the 250 apartments they built at that one development we're contesting were given a 30 exemption, that means if someone gave you 30 years tax free, you're not going to take some of that tax savings and kick it back to a political party, are you? You would just keep
Oh.
it. The point being, I didn't explain it well, but the point is they have the exemption has to be to one central owner of the whole development. That's why it's all rental, because the third exemption goes to the developer itself, and they can, funnel it back to the parties, which would not happen
So,
if it was just a bunch. Yeah.
so is there a housing crisis in Cranford? I'm not familiar. I mean, there's a housing crisis everywhere, I suppose, but
I don't know.
specifically, do you have a homeless population? Do you?
No,
No.
no. I mean, I obviously I see in the media everyone's saying there's a housing crisis in New Jersey, and they always say this. I can't prove that or say there is or isn't. I mean, what I can say, the housing price, single family homes prices are getting more expensive, as are rentals. That's gone up a lot in the last, 8 years. And in this area of New Jersey, there's a lot of people. It's one of the less developed areas outside of New York City compared to, Staten Island, Long Island, Westchester, and you got North Jersey. They're all maxed out probably. And then you have this kind of central, we're a little bit below. We're due west of Staten Island. And this area was still, you don't even know you're near New York City, even though we're 15 miles away. So it's kind of the last of small towns that still feel like, I don't know, middle America or something a little bit compared. But now they're trying to, max out. I suppose they're going to build apartments as long as they can make money off them. They'll keep doing it. But I don't know how many people from New York City will continue to move out here.
Yeah. Wow. Well, for Oregon, there is a housing crisis. They tell us there's a lot of homes for sale. The average house is anywhere between 3 and 550,000, depending bedrooms, acreage, and city. Definitely 3/4 of our state is rural, and those homes are cheaper. However, it lacks a lot of infrastructure in the way of jobs and grocery stores. We're really struggling with jobs at 5.2% unemployment. So we see a lot of inflation and gas prices, and the things just aren't coming down like they are for the rest of America. And without actually talking to people, you don't really know, do you have a homeless problem? We definitely do. We just had Measure 110, which was come here and do your drugs. So that wasn't great for us. They've since repealed it, but now we're still left trying to figure out that problem, which then seems to, obviously need more money. They just throw more money, and yet it gets worse. So it's very, very much of a struggle here. So I appreciate somebody speaking out about development, and because that's what we're doing. We are bulldozing farmland to put up crackerjack boxes and subdivisions and apartments because they keep telling us that there's incentives. So we are also stuck with paying the bill for these tax incentives. And I think that you're touching on something that just isn't unique to you and your city. It's happening all over the country. And which is why I was interested in speaking to you about it, because what does that look like for it's we're just being put into more debt, and you'll just never own your property because now you need a new police station because you have all this growth. You need a new street, you need new water and sewer, and now a new water tower, and it's just never going to stop as long as there's a housing crisis or tax incentives. But also we need jobs, and how do you incorporate jobs? So I think it's the chicken or the egg. We need jobs, but we can't have jobs without places for them to be. So
Yeah, it's it makes me question, are our governments even worth having? They're going to be doing more damage than help at some point. And it looks to me around here is a very what do you call it, capitalist area of the country, right around New York City, right? So it's like they try to milk as much money out of the population they can, and towns are run like slumlords. Like if you can't, if they can get people to come in and pay more taxes, they want to get the middle class people out of a town and just keep
Wow.
gentrifying towns. They'll,
Yeah.
they'll whatever we can. Like if you own an apartment building, people pay double rent. You can't evict them, but you can double the rent. And the way they do that in a town with single family homes is what's the rent? It's your taxes, your property taxes. So they just boop, 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 make your taxes go up. People who are on the edge have to sell their homes left and right in our town now. They just can't keep up with the taxes, and people who have more money can. And that's the way it's just like gentrifying a neighborhood in Brooklyn, the same thing, but now you're doing it
Right.
in suburban towns.
Right. And how is it affecting businesses? Are your businesses still booming? Are they still kind of, since COVID, has it come back, your economy?
Yeah, like in the town, things seem fine. What I noticed is our downtown, which was very nice and known for that, and it was all kinds of restaurants from all different parts of the world. So it was a popular place for getting all kinds of different good food, restaurants particularly. But I do see the rents are going up on all these places downtown, which generally leads to it prices out the authentic homemade restaurants and brings in more commercial stuff type restaurants, and that are more tourist based for appealing to people from outside the town to come in, and they raise their prices. So now locals, instead of getting to go down and have an affordable meal with your family, are going to go pay tourist prices in our own downtown.
Yeah.
Restaurants that are made for a quick buck and not made to sustain, and so it can lead to that type of thing. And I think some of that
Yeah.
is happening.
Yeah, absolutely. It's same thing, being on the Oregon coast over here. I was working in Lincoln City for some months, and the prices of food was just astronomical. It's one of our big tourist attractions on the beach, and I couldn't believe, not on top of the parking and what you're paying for hotels, you couldn't get a hotel for during the summer, probably $250 or more, depending. But there wasn't anything for the locals to, and I don't know that locals particularly care for it. But anyways, let me get to a few questions for you. I don't want to keep you all night. I know it's late over there. Is there anything that the city could offer you to stop these protests, or is there any sort of, or is this just going to happen until the lawsuit's done? Can you talk about that?
Sure. Well, the protest isn't just for me. It's not just about the 30-year exemptions. That work's been pretty well done. That's been covered. Our population knows about that. Another bigger reason probably for the protest is more about changing the vibe of the town and building community and making people friendly with each other and not being so serious. It's a very tense atmosphere at the meetings, which carries over a lot into the town, because surprisingly, the mood that comes from your local government, you might not even imagine it, has a pervasive effect, trickle-down effect of kind of a mood of the town. And so it's about, a lot of ways, it's about bringing good vibes and making people happy together, because the most important thing is making people happy. Money is one thing we like to save, but it's not the biggest thing in the world. So, making a lot of society is stressed out, especially in this area of the country, right? People have to commute into New York City. This is a 3-hour round trip or more. Don't get to see their families as much. People are getting pushed to the brink. And it's also a rebellion of we don't need to listen. You do not need to listen to your government if people aren't treating you correctly. If you keep doing, it's like a bad relationship. If you keep letting someone abuse you and don't say goodbye. You don't break up and dump them. Expect to keep being abused. And this is the same at a job or a boss you don't like, or a government that's mistreating you. If you can whine and talk about all you want, but as long as you keep participating and paying in, so at some point you need to, and that's the point when I started dancing. I said, I'm not talking to you anymore. I'm done talking. I know you're not listening. That's enough. Now we're going to do our own thing. And it's showing, lead by example. You don't have to listen to these people at all, unless they're respectful and nice. I'm not even going to address them or talk to them.
I did notice you made a comment somewhere that somebody was looking at a phone or something like that. And it is disrespectful when the people take their time to come and sit and listen and then decide to do public comment and they're not being paid attention to. I just wonder if there's a point where, so if the council were to come in and just be more cheery, is that sort of what you're looking for? Cheery, or is it outside of the meetings? Would you like them to show up at other events and socials and things like that? Is that what you're after?
Yeah, I would say, yeah, for me to, let's say, yeah, the best thing would be if they were, I think if they were smart, everyone should get up and dance, and they should dance with us and be friends. This would, we'd make so much money. We'd have a nice, this could be a famous reality show. If the police and the committee got up and we were all hugging and having friends and dancing, and we'd be the coolest town on the planet. I said, you'd make so much money. It'd cover all our taxes. And instead of, because I'm really not against them, but they need to drop the rude attitude and the arrogance. So yes, if we broke them and became friends, made everyone friends, and a lot of people who not hate me, but don't like what I'm doing, they still want to come because after a while, sometimes you fight with someone and they become friends. So yeah, the end goal is to get everyone. If they became all friends, we'd be good.
So what I find in where situations are like that have been helpful for me is potlucks. So I would propose, if I were you, hey, you know what? We can stop all of this madness if we can maybe get together, have a potluck, talk it out, hug it out, shake it out, and so that way we can start working together. Because when they're stopping the meetings, obviously that's disruptive, right? So, does that make you feel a little bit bad that they recess or anything like that, or is that okay for you?
No, first of all, they're not allowed to recess. This is
Oh,
public comment. Now, a disruption would be the rest of the meeting. It's like a 2-hour meeting, right?
yeah,
And there's like 30 minutes of people maybe doing public comment or less. I'm 5 minutes. It's the time for the people to speak. So it's nothing you do in that other than something violent is not disrupting their meeting. It's literally our meeting at that point.
I
This
see.
is it's a public forum for the public. So they're actually disrupting my meeting when they get up and leave. That's a First Amendment violation, and they're not allowed to do that. They can't just get up and leave in the public comment. So it's not even. It's not disruptive. First of all, no one ever went to these meetings. Like a handful of people even went. We had 200 people would watch it online, right? Now we got every meeting, we got 40, 50,000 people seeing it live. Lots of people come, more people come, to be a part of it. So no, if anything, it's probably now everyone's watching what's happening. It's definitely.
Yeah, you're definitely bringing
No.
some awareness. For Oregon, things like that, we can actually have people removed if it stops any business or decisions, things like that. We can actually have people removed. And then usually it would take a time or two, depending on the nature of what was happening. We can trespass them for 30 days. So sounds like you guys have more of a public policy than maybe we do. So just the difference in structure. So I understand, and there is a lot of issues with First Amendment speech. So, for example, you can't scream fire in a crowded theater, kind of thing. There are certain limits on speech, and of course, the Supreme Court has ruled on some of those things. But well, I want to. Is there anything else that I'm not missing, or that the people aren't missing? Sorry, that aren't maybe hearing from you in what your mission is, your goal, what you want to see for your town.
Yeah, one note to what you just said, and then I would comment on that. But just for the record, our meeting too. Yeah, you can get kicked out of our meeting if you
Oh, okay.
interrupted during any time other than your 5 minutes. Like any other
Oh,
time in the meeting, I'm not allowed to like speak or dance during the commissioner's comments, for
yeah,
example, or any other time. I would be out of order if I did anything that I'm doing
Yeah.
outside of the 5 minutes. Just so you know. So that would be the same here as there.
yeah. Thank you for correcting that. I just saw that. I mean, it might have been during your last one. They gavelled out and adjourned or something like that.
Mhm.
So I just wondered, is that on them then? Because that is your 5 minute. Okay.
Our
I
attorneys
understand.
filed a First Amendment lawsuit against them right away. They're not. Yeah, that's that they have to listen to the public's comments.
Absolutely.
Other than you doing something dangerous or
Right. So is there something else about your mission or your views that you want to share?
make everyone happy. It's really about making the whole world come together, make all of us realize life can be a whole lot better when we're happy and friendly, and take the stress out of your life. We're all torturing ourselves for no reason with the way a lot of our society, the way we all repress each other, and some of that has to do with government. Some of that repression, but a lot of it's just how society is. Right? And so this is about you can do what you want, help people be free, and this will make your life hopefully better for everybody.
I like that. I want to play one more little clip here before we end for the evening, if you don't mind.
No, not at all. Thank you.
Okay, hang on.
It's not good.
No, sound system is not permitted. Please turn it off. Mr. THilly, sound system is not permitted. Please turn it off. That's the third warning. Mr. THilly, turn the sound system off. That's 4 warnings on the half. May I have a motion to recess?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Get up, get it, jump around, come on. I can't get down, so jump up, you can jump around, come on. Up, jump around, yeah. Jump around. Jump up, and get down.
You only got nothing better to do? Mr. THilly, you only have nothing better to do? You're off your speaker.
Wish I knew. I wish I knew you wanted me. What you do?
Can we talk in? Or just want to talk in outside? It's been, makes it maybe 5 minutes into so, just come with us. That's it.
Thank you all. About it. Good for me, my dear. Good for me, my dear. Cause I'll tell you what I did for. Is that I can't ignore. Wish I knew.
I wish I knew you wanted me.
That's great. I love that. And being on both sides, having been in situations like that by the dais, and then also I think it's very creative way to get your message out and bring awareness to your town. I was also wondering, have you ever been arrested for any of these things, or
In it not in these meetings, no. And they've asked me to come outside, but no one's forced me or arrested me yet.
and
Mhm.
do you think that it might come to that?
I really like the police in our town. I really
Okay.
do, and get along with them well. So they've always been real respectful and tell me in advance, what they expect. I almost always immediately do what they ask me. Anyway, so um, like at the end of this video, I left right after the end of that video because I
Okay.
was just there for basically we have 5 minutes. At my 5 minutes, I leave, and um, no, I don't think it will. No.
Okay. Okay. Well, I love what you're doing. I think it's very creative. If you want people to follow you, do you want to share your socials where, other than your Instagram here, I guess is on THilly?
I think if I have a website, with my socials on it also, but willthilly.com, or if you Google that, that brings up my Facebook, Insta, and what else do I have? I think I have a TikTok that I just
Okay.
started.
Great. Love it. Well, thank you for spending your time tonight with me and sharing a little bit about what's going on in Cranford, your mission and your views. And, it was great to meet you, and hopefully your court case turns out well. Maybe you'd be willing to come back on and give us an update at some point in the future.
Sure. Anytime.
With that, thank you. Good night. This has been The Spotlight.